Good morning, CLC. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your love, your presence. Thank you for your energy, your vitality, everything you give, everything you do, and everything that you are. In this moment and at this time, I invite you to join me in relaxing in the ease and tranquility of knowing and loving yourself exactly who and how you are. If you feel so inclined, go ahead and take a nice deep cleansing breath in, breathing in love and light. And as you release the breath, release all that no longer serves you. Allow any doubts or stress or tension to just be washed away for now. Go ahead and take another nice deep cleansing breath in. And as you release the breath, allow your body to just relax in this moment. And allow your mind to be here now. Universal love enfolds me. Universal wisdom inspires me. Universal spirit enlightens me. Universal power encircles me. I am one, and all is well. As we begin this inner healing process, let me invite you to relax in quiet confidence, opening yourself up to the miracle-working higher power. Now symbolize the unity of your thinking and feeling nature by touching your chest with your hand, and let my words act as your own for your own inner healing, acceptance, and receptivity. I acknowledge that there is a power, intelligence, and wisdom greater than my own. I am in the midst of it, and it is in the midst of me, sensitive and responsive to my every thought, word, action, and feeling. I now make this true for myself by saying aloud, I acknowledge. Acknowledging this higher power working through my life, I admit that I am personally responsible for solving my own problems while being guided and assisted by something greater than myself. As I am ready to surrender the conflicts of my ego to the wisdom of this infinite presence, I simply speak these words: I surrender. Knowing that forgiveness is the key to unconditional love and the feeling of heaven, I now unconditionally forgive anyone and everyone who has ever injured me in any way, real or imagined. And I now forgive myself for all of my mistaken judgments and their resulting actions. From my deepest level of understanding, I now say, I forgive. Realizing that I continually experience the effects of my own thinking, I now choose to allow this higher power to recreate me deeply. filling my mind with thoughts that are only positive, constructive, loving, and beautiful. I call upon this divine inflow by stating aloud, I choose. I now center upon that one very special idea that I'm willing to accept as real for me in this coming week. Visualizing that idea as already acted upon and brought to pass. In seeing my idea become a fact of my experience, I enjoy the happiness and peace of my thought fulfilled and gratefully speak these words. I accept. Knowing that I have an everlasting place in the midst of the power that sustains all creation, as well as the support of all those around me. I allow myself to relax in the peace of fulfillment and gratitude and say, I release. Now, in my mind's eye, I envision the presence of someone near and dear to me. This can be a friend, a family member, a teacher or mentor, someone who has touched my life in deep and loving ways. Someone who may not be physically present in this room or even on this planet anymore. I turn to that image in my mind's eye and say, I'm grateful for the good in your life. Now I open my eyes, turn to the world around me, and joyfully speak to anyone physically present in this room or virtually on this broadcast, and share in confidence and gratitude in saying, I'm grateful for the good in your lives.
Okay, now we're going to have a special guest to do some interpretive reading for us today. And Sasha Davis is coming up, and I'm going to preamble and make some music and sounds from this Tibetan bowl and variations on autumn sounds. Baron Copeland on the piano. So this is Sasha Davis, and you can find her and reach out to her at sashadavis.com. And stick around also for after the talk. We have more from William Shakespeare.
Can you hear me? In the wheel of seasons, the time turns. The sun, a tired friend, shines with less strength. The earthly mother sighs, and her leaves, once green with summer's fire, now surrender. Let fall what has served its purpose. The leaf, a testament of growth, a record of rain and sun, fails to nourish the waiting earth. So too must the spirit release its faded glories. For in this shedding is a holy thing, a preparation for the coming of deep silence. The wind speaks a new truth, whispering of endings which are but beginnings in disguise. Let the soul rustle with the dry leaves. Let the spirit, like the seed, prepare for the rest. To lie in the cool, darkening embrace of the mother, and trust in the promise of rebirth. The children of light look within. Let the spirit, like the seed, prepare for rest. As the world outside lets go, we too must turn our gaze from the vibrant branches and see the quiet power at the root. For the Father is in the silence, and the Mother is in the fertile decay, so we commune with the unseen forces and await the spring of a new creation.
That was beautiful. That was awesome. So where you are right now, seated in here or seated at home, your body is healing itself. Your emotions are healing themselves. Your relationships are healing themselves. Everything is returning. Everything is restoring. I was thinking about the piano music. My limited understanding the music theory has it being, you will correct me, sir, if I am mistaken. You begin a chord structure in first position, and you move to a second, and then a third, called inversions, and then you return, and the fourth is what's called tonic, which is basically the same as the first, but it's an octave up. Well, that's how our forms work as well. Every time you eat something, your body has to process it. Your body is disturbed slightly. Your gastric juices flow. Your esophagus widens and contracts. Your stomach responds, and so on. Every time you take a deep breath, your lungs, which up to that point had been dealing with panting and a limited amount of intrigue, all of a sudden have to expand and then contract. And you can imagine them, if you put personalities to them, you could imagine them turning and looking at you and saying, I was enjoying how I was. I was nice and relaxed. Now you had to breathe deeply or eat something or get up and walk across the room. And the body is filled with a certain kind of stress. Stress is what makes you stand up. Do you remember that awful Gary Larson Far Side cartoon of the boneless chicken ranch? Did you ever see? Do you have any idea what I'm talking about? Okay. There were all these chickens and they were just lying there because they had no bones. Well, that's the Far Side, you know. Well, you need stress to get anything done. Sinews and tendons and muscles all work together. You stand up and you move, and yeah, after a period of time you're tired and you lay down and you regenerate, and that's a healing. Healing is not this strange occasional break glass in case of emergency kind of thing. It's continual and it's repetitive. And no sooner is it finished in the moment than another opportunity for it arises. Every time you leave your house, you encounter other humans. If you're not living with other humans as it is, and you've got to deal with them, and there are all sorts of negotiations and compromises and things that occur, and your perception of yourself changes constantly, and your perception of life and how it works, and all of that is a healing. So somebody was kind enough to say last week that in the talk I gave, I covered all the main points of the Science of Mind teaching, which I hadn't set out to do, but thank you for that. But really, the Science of Mind is about a healing process. It's a constant renewal. It's a constant regeneration. Sasha's beautiful reading about autumn. All the leaves falling off the trees, you know, and there's a part of us that wants to go gather them up and staple them back on because they were really nice and we liked them and they gave shade. But if those same leaves were on those same trees, there wouldn't be room for the buds that come in spring. It'll be fresh and new and vibrant, and so there's a constant regeneration that occurs. And we participate in that. And last week I was sharing with you the idea, we're working partly anyway, out of a book by Stuart Grayson, an old friend of mine, called Spiritual Healing. And in there he says there are 3 levels or tiers of mind: the absolute, the conscious, and the subconscious. The absolute is God. The absolute is that which is, that is unchanging, that encompasses everything that is infinite. The conscious mind is our understanding of this, or rather our knowledge about this. And the subconscious is our use of that knowledge, which really is understanding. And that's why in the book of Proverbs it talks about get wisdom and also get understanding. Wisdom is information. Understanding is the application of information. Subconsciously, we apply the information that we gather about life. Since our conscious faculty is not infinite, we can't take it all in and understand it all and figure it all out, but we take pieces of it in and process them and have a fact base off which we operate. Then there's how we feel about the fact base, and that's our subconscious faculty. So how do we feel about this? So certain things occur in life. We observe them, we interpret them, we identify them, and we judge them. And we judge them, and we come up with a value system about life and ourselves in it. And that becomes our baggage, our emotional baggage that we carry around with us, that has that self-definition kind of pointed outward at the world. Now, up to this point, everything is just fine, but if you're not comfortable with the definition of yourself in regard to life, there's hope for you. There's a process that you can undertake of deliberate self-healing that begins by going to the absolute, which has never had a particular sectarian sort of judgment about you at all. You go to the absolute and you say, show me who I am. And it will show you that you are the experience that it's having in this world at this time by means of you. It will refresh. It will restore you, if you will, to your default settings, in a way, your factory settings, where you came out of spirit as this whole, complete, and perfect expression of that. And along the way, may have misinterpreted yourself in regards to life and moved your value downward in your own estimation. Now here's the weird thing that happens. So when you devalue yourself, life tends to devalue you in support of that. Other people tend to ignore you or overlook you or step right by you or something, because that's sort of the expectation that you've set up. We tend to draw to ourselves experiences that confirm the understanding that we have about ourselves. And one of the great teachers in New Thought, and somebody we're starting a book study / discussion / class on coming up in November, Emma Curtis Hopkins, said very plainly, the world will persist in exhibiting before you what you persist in affirming the world is. Now that's pretty blunt. One might even say brutal. The world will persist in exhibiting before you what you persist in affirming the world is, which suggests, among other things, that your affirmation of what the world is precedes the world exhibiting something to you. So we decide how we're going to be received, and the world and the people in it tend to conform themselves to that. There are surprises along the way, and there are exceptions to this. And it's not a neat and tidy kind of reaction. It's exactly on the nose, but it's, in a general way, true. And if you don't believe that, try it. And come up for yourself with a new definition of yourself and road test it out in the world. Decide that you're a confident, capable, intelligent being, more so than ever before. And just see how you're received in the world. And I think you will agree. And then tweak it some more and see. Or if you don't want to make it that broad, about your whole definition of self, decide that you can sing. Decide that you have a knack for numbers, for math. Decide that there's a TV commercial I saw a while back where somebody is has this skill of being able to tell if things will fit into other things. And you remember this? And they're driving along and somebody has a large truck and they're trying to park it in their garage. They're like, no, that's not going to work. Okay, that's like a really specialized sort of talent. Well, maybe pick a specialized sort of talent. I was amused. This cost the taxpayers money, but I was amused to see that the city of Houston purchased a really gigantic fire engine recently, and it won't fit in any fire station. That's not really funny, but it kind of is. You know what I'm saying? So maybe you have a knack for deciding how things fit or what goes where. That's another one, you know? Maybe you, accessorize beautifully. Pick one skill, something that you're really good at. And you know what? You don't even have to prove it. You just decide it. Like, I'm a world-class lacrosse player. Am I really? No. I've never played lacrosse in my life, and it looks really exhausting. It's like soccer, or to some of you, football. But you run with a stick, and you're constantly waving this stick, and you run up and down the field for an hour or so in this game. It looks exhausting, but in my mind, I can decide I can walk across a room like any world-class lacrosse player could. I can hold my own in a conversation just like, you see what I'm saying? And so you make up something like this, and you decide, and you're not lying to the world. You're not even telling anybody about this. This is all interior. You're just deciding this is that. And all of a sudden, you've got a knack for something. All of a sudden, you've got a gift. You've got a gift. And watch what happens. The subconscious mind of you meets the subconscious mind of the world, the collective mind of the world, and it sort of receives you that way. Now, I'd suggest splitting the difference, really, between picking something that's so grand and enormous and something that's kind of silly, like being a world-class lacrosse player, unless you're into that, and pick something that's useful to you, that you'll benefit from, and that others around you will benefit from, and go with that. Decide, for example, just a suggestion, that you're an agent of healing. Decide that you're an agent of healing. Decide that everywhere you go, people are better off because of having known you. Better off for the experience of being with you. You're an agent of healing. Ernest Holmes and others say there are no healers. There is one healing presence. All of us conduct it. All of us use it. All of us apply it. But we don't bottle it up. We're not the sole licensed purveyors of it, whoever we are in our little niche of the world, you know. There's one power flowing through all of us. We'll decide that you're really good at conducting that power, that wherever you go, whether you interact verbally with people or not, maybe you're filling up your car at the gas station and there's somebody at the next pump and you look over at them and they don't even notice you, they don't make eye contact with you, but you send them a silent blessing and they get in their car and they drive off into a better life. They drive off into a higher quality of experience. Decide that you can do something like that. And then see how it feels to be present in the world in that way. And see how you're met and see how you're received and see what you generate for yourself out of that. Now, sometimes we will say to ourselves, well, that's selfish. You had me at being the agent of healing and everything until you told me there's something in it for me, and I can't do that. I have to back. No, wait a minute. Spirit is either all there is or it isn't. And you're as entitled to benefit from this as anybody else. So you can say, yeah, this is right. It's like there used to be a conversation in New Thought about tithing. Tithing is a biblical thing. It's a Christian thing. It's a Hebrew thing. It's a thing. It's about giving 10% of your income to your spiritual source, whether that's a center or something like this. And it was scary to people because 10% is a lot of money. It's double 5%, you know, and people are like, I don't know about this. Well, New Thought hastened to add, if you'll tithe, you open the window, and we can cherry the Bible really well, New Thought. Open up the window of heaven, such a blessing to be poured out upon you. Room enough to receive. then it's strategy. That makes a lot of sense. Other people came along behind that and they said, no, wait, that's not very spiritual to do this for your own benefit. And it's like, wait a minute. It's all. If we say the Spirit is all there is, set the place, the humble, place where I am, that's not having it be all there is. So why not be an agent of healing, and why not benefit from it? Why not enjoy the fruits of your labor by being thought of as a kind person, having lots of friends, and so on? All of this by way of saying that we cleanse our thinking. We cleanse the influences that have held us down. And while it is tempting to assume most of those influences came from outside of us, from foolish people who had ulterior motives, most of the judgment that we face comes from ourselves. Whenever we talk about forgiveness, forgiveness of the self is paramount, but it's kind of the last place that we want to look. Go out there. But we hold things against ourselves. We limit ourselves. We judge ourselves. And we take the effect of this. I read something the other day, so powerful. And I'll tell you where it came from. I think Lisa found it. I brought it in class the other night. I think Lisa found it online at the time. But it said, when you make a list of the things you love, how much time passes before you name yourself? When you make a list of the things that you love, how much time has to pass before you name yourself? Think about that. I love Italian food. I love Aston Martin cars. I love movies, books, plays, other people, lots of other people, whole lists of stuff, department stores full of stuff, whole malls full of stuff before I get to myself. Because I can't trust myself, we say to ourselves. All this other stuff, it has an intrinsic value. No, it doesn't. It has an agreed upon value. All values agreed upon. It's like the stock market. People decide, are we going to run out of this, or what's the future of that? So in stocks and commodities and stuff, the value shifts constantly. It's all relative. There's one absolute, the great I am. Everything beneath that is relative, including our conscious faculty, which bases its judgments on precedent. What was going on the last time this happened? The last time I saw you in my life, where did we leave things? And so on. And then the emotion that flows out of that. Also all relative. One absolute. You go check in with the absolute, it tells you are the experience it's having by means of you, and off you go. Now when you make your list of things you love, you're at the top of the list. This isn't hubris. This isn't self-absorption. No. It's honoring that which you are. It's also honoring that which you manage. And here's the thing about stress and about the management of stress and the management of life generally in our healthiness. I've told some of you this story about a long time ago when I was a kid, and I got into this teaching not long after. I was at a dinner party with one of the, as it turned out, one of the top gastroenterologists. There's a word for you. One of the top gastroenterologists in America, and a bunch of other people. And I, being young and brash, sitting near this guy and his wife, I said, so, can I ask you a question? What do you see as being the relationship between things like stress and ulcers? Because ulcers was what, a big part of his work. And he said, there's absolutely a connection, along with genetics, environment, and bad luck. Genetics, environment, and bad luck. There's absolutely stress. Well, the anecdotal connection between stress and ulcers has been around for a long time, as you know. There's even a funny line about that. I don't have ulcers, I give them. I'm a carrier, says the obnoxious boss or something. Well, of genetics, environment, and even luck, what you can manage today is stress. We have some control over it. If luck is luck, we don't. That's why they call it luck. I'm not sure how much. I think we give luck too much power. I think there's a margin of things, a margin of variability within a field of choice. But what we do manage, we know, is how we deal with stress. We deal with it now through meditation. We deal with it now through affirmative prayer. We deal with it now through a regular revisiting of the absolute nature whose child we are. We go to that, and it doesn't wash away all our stress, because again, that wouldn't serve us really. It tightens it up in a way. It allows us to prioritize. Have you ever worked, I know you have, on some project that was so exciting to you, you didn't need to sleep. You forgot to eat. It was so great. Or it was so important. Maybe it was a project you loved, or maybe it was something that was just of such great priority, like you're at the bedside of somebody else who's suffering, that you just have to be there to do that. Your body allows that to happen. How is this so? And you hear these stories all the time of people lifting cars and doing all sorts of jumping into icy rivers and stuff because they just have to. Because they just have to. And somehow their body responds. Well, how does that work? What if you were to say to your body, okay, I've got a project that I'm working on now, and I need you to shift into a different gear, just like your car. I'm putting you in overdrive for a while. Then I'll garage you, and I'll wash you and polish you and let you calm down and relax and get plenty of free time, How would that be? And in this way, we begin to manage the stress in a useful sort of way. Listen, you can't have it both ways. I wish you could. It would make life a lot easier. But we come in here and we talk about this kind of stuff, and we read all the material that we do, and it says, you are this creative genius and wonderful things are awaiting you. And I was talking to somebody in the courtyard just a few minutes ago who's finished her book. Except it needs a little more work, she says to me, right? Well, what she may or may not realize, and I'm sure that she does, if she's sitting here in the room, is that writing a book is very stressful, and the reception of it is very stressful. And I promise you, when you write a book and you publish it, people want you to do something about that thing. They want you to come speak to them or create a class about it or get interviewed or whatever. And all of a sudden, your stress level can really ramp up. Well, when you come into New Thought, you're told you're this powerful creative genius, and you think, I want to be on Broadway. I want to take the stage. I want to be famous. I want my voice to be heard in the world. Well, you better get some sleep first. Because those lights are going to click on, and you're going to be out there on the edge of the stage, and you're going to be doing this kind of thing. Or you say, I want to meet the right person and form a relationship. Well, get ready for more stress. Great new job, a great new relationship, a great new opportunity. We can't have it both ways. We got to deal with this in some way. So we prepare ourselves now. We say, all right, I'm up for it. I'm up for it. I have what it takes because I am what it takes. Because the one power made me, fashioned me from out of itself. So, to cleanse the mind, cleanse the heart of influences and stuff that would hold you back. Turn toward those influences. There are a lot of strategies, but this is one for today. Turn toward those influences in your mind. The next time the little voice comes up and says, you're not good enough. You're not good enough. Or one of my favorites. You remember the time in 5th grade when you didn't have your homework done and all the kids laughed at you, and it still rings in your ears. And every time you think of doing some great thing, rather than the standing ovation and people handing you bunches of flowers and stuff at the curtain of the stage, no, it's now, It's your fifth grade class, and that's who's sitting out there, and they're all laughing at you because whatever you did, somehow you missed a word or something here and there. Turn toward them in your mind and say, I love you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for, without the slightest bit of snark, you came at this from where you needed to be at the time, and it helped me grow, and somehow, in some way, having you live in my head all these years has been beneficial to me. I have no idea why, but thank you. And all the power to drain away from that experience. Leave a clear and open space in front of you. You might have to do this more than once, but each time you do it, you win. Each time you do it, you carve out new space, blaze a new trail forward. Each time you do that, say to yourself, these amazing things. Let me give you a little bit of Stuart Grayson directly here. He says, affirm, I do not depreciate myself. Hey, let's do an Arthur Johnson moment. You want to? All right. I do not depreciate myself, but accept my own divine capabilities. I do not depreciate myself, but accept my own divine capabilities. I do not depreciate myself, but accept my own divine capabilities. And so it is.
Is it not? I've had the right height. Thank you. Can you hear me? I know I'm quiet. Thank you. That time of year thou mayest in me behold, when yellow leaves, or none or few, do hang upon those boughs which shake against the cold. Bare ruin choirs where late the sweet birds sang. In me thou sees the twilight of such day, as after sunset fadeth in the west, which by and by black night doth take away death's second self, that seals up all in rest. In me thou seest the glowing of such fire, that on the ashes of his youth doth lie, as the deathbed wherein it must expire, consumed with that which it was nourished by. This thou perceivest, which makes thy love more strong. To love that well which thou must leave ere long.
Yeah. I was going to say, after that, Sasha, I'm the fall guy. Sorry about that. I was thinking about, I couldn't get out of my head when Jesse was talking about the chickens all lying around boneless. And the word that came to me was abandoned. Abandoned. Never mind. And everything else you can look at in your program, you can see it in the weekly email. And I encourage you again, if you've not signed up for the weekly email, please do so. So as we come up to giving time, Reverend Jesse kind of led into it, talking about tithing, but on a more practical note, whatever you help us with by way of donation, we truly appreciate it. And we're not here to talk about the pros and cons of tithing either. So we just appreciate that. We appreciate all your support. And we just like to get our message out into the world, which we do every single day. Reverend Lisa reads something and I read something. Reverend Lisa in the mornings and me in the evenings. And then you get a midweek meditation from Danielle. So there's lots and lots going on at our spiritual center. So as we come up to giving time now, I invite you to in your mind or in your hand, take your gift and then say with me, divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all the good I am and have, all the good I give and receive. I am prosperous now, and so it is.
What was her website again?
SashaDavis.com.
SashaDavis.com. We're going to put it in the chat, so, because clearly she is multi-talented. So, I'm looking at Sasha because it was so beautiful. And I mean, she pretty much did exactly what I'm going to do out there. It's about fall. It's about letting go. It's about, stepping into that change of the season. So let's do that now. Because the trees are about to give us the best lesson in letting go to prepare for that winter rest. And we forget to do that as humans because we have, heat and light, and we can change. We can have light to midnight or to 1 o'clock in the morning. We can make it dark in the middle of the day. So we can really mess with our natural cycles. So it's a good idea occasionally to reacquaint ourselves with those natural rhythms and to give ourselves time to prepare to rest. That is what the winter season is. It is about resting. And fall is about preparing for that rest. So I encourage you now to step with me into that sacred space. It is all holy all the time. Every moment is a sacred moment. But when we consciously step into that sacred, that is when we do our most powerful work. Know with me that there is one power, one presence, one life, one love. As I am a manifestation of that presence, a channel of that love, and I live that life, so too do I know that each and every one of you are that. I am that I am, and I am what thou art, and thou art what I am. As we step forth into this week, and as we notice that the days are evening out, and dare I say the temperatures are cooling ever so slightly. We celebrate what we have accomplished. We take our wins and we express our gratitude for the lessons that we have learned, for the things that we have done, for the loves that we have expressed. And we turn gently into those rhythms and say, what's next? So that we can prepare for the next evolution, the next love, the next accomplishment. Knowing that it all comes in those beautiful seasonal cycles. And that we are always held in the everlasting arms. And that which we seek is seeking us. We speak our word, and it comes into manifestation. And I know this with all of the gratitude in my being. Because there is nothing more powerful than gratitude. Because it's another word for love. And I am grateful for a teaching that reminds me who we are, beloved expressions of the divine. I am grateful for a community that comes together to remind each other. I am grateful for our ministers, our musicians, our practitioners. I am grateful for each and every one of you, and I am grateful for the technology when it works flawlessly, and even when it doesn't, that allows us to send this out into the ethers. And I relax into this knowing, releasing my word into that law, knowing that it is done with love, and so it is.
Say with me now, something wonderful is happening through me.
Something wonderful is happening through me.
I feel it in my body. I feel it in my mind. I feel it in everything I am. I choose it. I trust it. I use it. And I love it. And so it is. All right.